Greetings, this is Eduardo Jambo. In this episode, we're going to do a walkthrough how to create a beautiful page flip animation using the Blender 4.4 Python API. So, as you can see, this is recorded. This is a video. So be sure to subscribe, like, follow, and leave comments for more frequent content. So as you can see here, I have this animation. You see, this was all done in Blender. It's a procedural animation, meaning that I didn't model it myself. I just did it with Python. Everything was done in Python and used Blender. So as you can see here, it actually flips, and then it's also animated. So you can make videos for this, or in this example, just an AVF file. Okay, so with that started, I'm going to show you how to create a smooth page animation. As you can see, this is smooth. And for this tutorial, I'm using Blender 4.4 because there have been some changes. So meaning if you're using something like Blender 4.3 or less, this might not work because there's been a lot of changes, even from Blender 4.0. So you don't need any prior coding experience. If you need help with the coding, for example, Python, I'll show you how you can get that as well. Okay, so this script is perfect for students, artists, animators, and developers curious about Blender scripting. I'll also provide all the resources below for you. So, for example, this is if you purchase my book called Mastering Blender Python API. It's available on Amazon, by the way. This tutorial is inspired by the concepts for my book, Mastering Blender Python API, where I walk you through real-world projects like automating 3D animation tasks, creating procedural geometry, and developing custom Blender tools. If you're serious about becoming a power user in Blender, this book is a must-have on your shelf. What you also learn about the book, there's obviously the Blender Python API, how to animate, for example, a plane object, creating bending, deformation, using modifiers, animate rotation modifiers across frames, and you can use the Eevee, that's the Blender engine, render engine, with correct lighting for clean rendering. So as I said before, you need Blender 4.4 later. You have to be familiarity with the Blender UI, but you don't need any coding experience. And as you see here, I also created a tutorial for you. So you can just watch this. It's embedded, so you can watch this as well right on ojambo.com. It's the URL is up here. You just go to jambo.com and just search for Blender. There'll be lots of Blender tutorials for you, and the code snippets as well. And these are the screenshots. So as you can see here, I also have the code in the scripting tab, and then this is the output we'll have as well after you run it. I'll show you how to do that in a second. And if you need help learning Python, I also have, because Python scripting, especially Blender scripting, feel overwhelming. So I also offer a complete beginner course called Learning Python, designed for artists and non-programmers. So the course is available on ojamboshop.com. The link is right here. Links also in the description. And I also have the book, which is available on Amazon. So this is a different book. It's called Learning Python. Okay, and if you still need some extra help, I also like personalized help. I'm available one-on-one online tutorial session focused on Blender scripting, Python fundamentals, automating creative workflows. So you can schedule a session at ojamboservices.com/contact. And here's the script, as I promised for you. You can simply just copy this script, expand this, copy this script, and then just simply dump it into, when you open up Blender, you just go to the scripting tab, and you can paste it in here. Now, I have modified this one because this script will still work. So what you need to do is if you copy this script into here, you will need to save the blend file. Then you'll be able to create your own animations. Obviously, you have to go to the menu. For example, I'll show you that in a second. So you render it that way. I prefer to render it from the command line because it's faster. You don't have the UI, so it'll be much faster. Okay. Now, with that out of the way, let's get started here. So what I'm going to do is I am going to spend the rest of this tutorial explaining what's happening here. So there's some math involved, so I'm not going to spend too much time. And you know what? This is a little bit cramped. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually open up in a text editor. This is the same script. It's already zoomed in, so hopefully you guys can see this. So you import the Blender Python API. you import math, you import the math utils, and then for the math utils, we also import quaternion. And as you can see here, this part is actually not needed because you can actually do this manually yourself. But as I said, I did modify the script. I added some the frame, the ending frame, which is, so it's going to be 100 frames, and the FPS, that's frames per second, I set it to 30. So the first thing we do is we clear all the existing objects. This is also in the script in the article. So we select all of them, then we delete everything. That means the default cube, the light, and the camera, they're deleted. The reason we do this is because this will future-proof our script. But in the future, Blender may decide that, hey, you know what? We're not going to have the default cube anymore, or we're not going to have the default camera or the default light. So in that case, if people try to follow this tutorial in the future, they will be totally lost. So that's why we delete everything and then we add our own. So what we do is we add a plane. You see mesh, it's a mesh, it's a primitive plane. We just add it, set the size to 1, and then we grab it. Because every time you add an object, it's automatically the current project, the current object. So we grab it. Now the reason we grab it is so that we can then add some. So for example, we change the name, we scale it about half for in the X direction, because remember, this is not a 3D object. It's just a plane, meaning it's really 2D. As you can see here in this little animation, it's really just a 2D. It doesn't have. It's not 3 dimensions. It's really just 2D. That's all we care about. It's just paper or a page. Then after that, we set the transform apply. This is very, very important because this will allow us to edit it. And for example, it's very basic. So you see how when it bends here, it's more realistic if you do the cut. So I subdivided to, I gave it 32 cuts, and that's in the edit mode. And then went back to the object mode. So in the object mode, we created an empty, and then we added an empty. Then we did the rotation. Now Blender doesn't do the rotation as you would expect. Like 40 degrees, 50 degrees, doesn't do it that way. It does it in radians, so we need to convert it. So as you can see here, radians. We wanted to rotate 90 degrees. So actually, what we do then is we just put in the degree in radians. If you don't know what radians are basically, they go from 0 to 1. So you need to be converting, you need to be converting them into that, but it's not always easy. It's not as simple as 0.1, because remember, for example, this is not 0.9. Why? Because if you notice, a full circle is 360 degrees. So that's why some people are trouble with math. They just use, that's why we imported the math, Python math. Then we scale it, X, Y, Z. So that's how we do that. And then we gave it a name. We call it a bend pivot. Then we add another empty. And this empty, we call it rot pivot. And then we set the parent of the page, which was our plane. We set it to the rot empty, this one here. The rot stands for rotation. Okay, then after that, we put the constraints. So the page, the parent, its bending will be constrained to the one of the student, which is obviously the bend empty, this one here. So as you can see, we prevent it from bending any more than we see. This is as far as it can bend. We want to constrain it because this is supposed to be a page flip. You can imagine if there are multiple pages, it will be the pages don't really flip when you're flipping, for example, a page. So that's why we did that. Okay, then we created a new modifier. We use the simple deform. We just gave it a name called simple bend, and then the deform method is obviously bend, and then we set it on the z-axis. That's the one you see here, the z-axis. Okay, so for the animation settings, we start at frame 1, obviously, and the frame, the scene end, it ends at frames. Remember, we set 200 in our variable there. And then after that, we set the rotation mode to quaternion. And then we insert the keyframes. As you can see, this is how we did it. and so basically one at frame 1 and one at frame 50, so that's halfway. As you can see, this is what happens. So it's basically starts flat, as you can see here, and then about halfway, and then at the ending part, which is 100 frames. And then after that, we start bending the keyframes, as you can see here, the rotation at 45 degrees. Sorry, at 45 frames, as you can see, we set it's minus on the negative. That's why you see it goes this way. This is the negative area, so minus 75, then minus 135, then it comes back. As you can see here, it goes there, then goes there, and then it goes back to a 0 at the angle. Okay, then we also give it smooth shading. The reason we give it smooth shading is so that, remember we did 32 cuts. So those cuts will be showing up here, but because we set it to smooth, as you can see, you're not able to see them. So it's just a simple way to use the shading, smooth shading. After that, we set the interpolation. By default, I believe it's I think it's like a Bezier curve where it starts up really fast, slows down at the end. So what we do is we set it to we set the one to linear, so it's more smooth. You can see that it's smooth. Then we set it to a Bezier curve for the simple band. After that, now that's fine, but obviously we want to render out. So render out, we need a camera. So I set the camera here, and you see set it to 75 degrees, and then we called it camera. Okay, and then the scene camera is set to the camera. Simple enough. Then we set up some lights. Otherwise, it would be way too dark. So we set up 2 lights. And the first light is we use the area, and we give it a key light. We give the data energy to 500. Size to 4. Then we have a fill light, and then we set that one, the energy to 2000, data size to 5. And then we also have we added a backlight. We also use the area, it's called rim light, and then we set that energy to 1000 and the data size to 5. Then the problem is, even with that, the world is still going to be dark. So we lightened up a little bit. So we give the in the world, the background, we set the color to white. This is white. It's all 255 to 255 if you're doing RGB. We set the strength to 1.5. So it's a little bit brighter. This is just the background. Otherwise, you won't be able to see anything. And then because we're using Eevee, what we need to do is we set our ground here to 2.0. Yeah, it was too dark, so I brightened up a little bit more, made it to 2. So you can fool around with this value. So I gave them both of you, gave you both options. And then obviously our paper, by default it's like a grayish color. We didn't want that, so we wanted to give it a glossy, slight gloss to it. So what we did is we created a new material called paper white, and then we created some nodes, and we just linked the nodes together, as you can see. So we're using a shader here, the output material, and then the BSDF diffuse, BSDF glossy, and a mix shader. So this part I'll explain it more when we actually go back to Blender. Basically just link them all up, and then obviously put the materials onto our object, which is this guy, the plane, the paper. And this is my render settings. I set the render sample sizes to 16. The reason I did this, you have to actually put Eevee, because I'm using Eevee engine. If I put it 32, it takes longer. And I said this is a very simple project. I don't need 32 or more. I could probably even go less than this. And obviously it's full HD, resolution 100%, FPS here again. So I set it to 30 before, and then the frames end is 100. And then this is the output path. If you put // that means it's relative to, for example, the Python file or the Blender file. And then the image format, I set to FFmpeg. Then the container is MP4. Codec is H.264. There's no audio. So if you want audio, you need to actually go to the VSC and put it there. But I didn't need audio because it's just a simple animation. I set the constant rate factor medium and the preset to real time. So this is the fastest way I could get it. And then here you see it says render animation. I set that to true, and then a page flip blend. This is the output to create the blend file for us. So if you want to do it in Blender, you just comment this one out, and then you can just have the Blender file. If you don't care about that, you don't care about the blend file, you can just render it out immediately, and then just don't save it because you have the Python file. So that's it for the Python file. So I'm going to minimize that. So now we go back here and just use the mouse to go this way. So we go to layout. You see now we have the render. So you can render either an image or an animation. So in this case, obviously, it's animation. And obviously, this was an empty file. So this is actually not very good. So what I would do is I will I'll say don't save. So I'll show you what I'm going to do instead. I'm going to, there should be a, oh, there's a lot of stuff here. What is the name? Flip something. Am I the right one? Oh, wrong one. So there should be a, oh yeah, here we go. So we have the flip blend. So I'm going to rename this. I'm going to rename it 1 and I'll open it up so that when we're running on the command line, you'll be able to see that file. So what I'll do here is I'll say blender minus B for background minus hyphen or whatever capital P, and then I'll say page flip dot py. So then you can see here it's going to run it and it's going to render it as well. So as you can see, it's rendering 16 samples. Imagine if it was 32, it'd be like twice as fast. So while this is running, I'll leave it. I'll just take it out of there until it's finished. I'm going to open up this blend file here. Oh, I think this is the one it's been creating. Did I do the wrong one? Or it doesn't matter. I'll open up this one up and I'll just show you the settings of how the final product actually does look like. So I'll just split this. There we go. So as you can see, these are the lights. As you can see, there's 3 lights. You can see here. See, there's a key light, the rim light, and the rotation light. So there's that one, there's that one, and that one, and that one. So there's 4 of them. You see? And the object is actually down here. I'll zoom in. This is our object, and this is the camera. So that's a camera, and that's a pen. So these are all the empty objects, as you can see them here as well. So that's all of them here. You see this pivot, they're all empties. So let me actually go up here a little bit so you can see better. So what I want to do is I'm going to grab the object itself. So this was, I think, which one was the parent? I can't remember which one was the parent. I think this was the parent. Yeah, the page. So I'm interested in the page. That's our guy here. This one here. So as you can, let's go to the materials. You see the materials here. It's using a mix shader. So it's a little hard to see it here. The best way to see this is to actually go to, what is going on here? Oops. Oh, it's finished. It just finished. Yeah, so it's pretty quick. So let me actually play the animation for you here so you can see it. Okay, so you saw it pretty quickly. So it's basically this, actually how can I get this to play? I think I need to pause it. Okay, there we go. All right, so there we go. So let me start it again. So this is the video. As you can see, it's an MP4 file. There we go. So let me open up Flip Blend here. Before we're rudely interrupted. So this was a parent. So I grab this. I'm going to go to the shading. Yeah, I'm going to go to the shading so you can see what's going on in the shading here. There's a lot of stuff. I have to zoom out a little bit so you can see everything. There we go. Oh, actually, not too much. There's only a few nodes. So here we go. As you can see, there's a material output. Makes sense. There's a mix shader. Basically takes the diffuse and the glossy BSDF and the diffused BSDF, and then it puts them in the mix shader. You see top, bottom, and then there. It's nice and simple. And then to see this, obviously you can you saw the output. So anything else I can show you guys here? Oh yeah, so let's go back to the layout. So you can see all the rotations. There's really nothing. I'll show you the output as well. So I click here for the output. You see the render engine is Eevee, and the shadows are enabled, as you can see here. And you see I changed the sample. That by default I think it's 64 or 32. Yeah, so the viewport is good enough, so that's why I set the same one as that one. And what else? And then if you want, sometimes you can put transparent, especially if you're, for example, going to put this on the sequence editor. You put transparent, there will be a transparent video. You can in the scene, and then you can put it there. That's, for example, if you want to add audio. But I'm saying is in this case, I'm perfectly fine with that. And here, so as you can see, this is, which are we looking for? The modifiers. So modifiers, we use the simple band. So it's all here. It's pretty straightforward. So I am going to, yeah, as you saw, and of course you can also play. If I change this, if I change it to viewport shading. Oh, let me actually go to the camera view as well. There we go. So I'm going to play this. So there we go. You can also see it in the camera view as well. And so that's basically our animation. You can see all the lights and all that as well. Now, let's finish this up. As I said, this was inspired by some of the concepts in my book, Mastering Blender Python API. And I said before, this book is available on Amazon. There's an ebook version, and there's also a ebook version. So if you're serious about becoming a power user in Blender, this book is a must-have for your shelf. So as I said, the book is available on Amazon. You can go here, and you can see. You can also search for Edward Jambo, whether US and Canada. That's all a different country. Just go there and just search for Edward Jambo. As you can see, it's just the back of the book. And I said there's an ebook version, and there's also the paperback version. And of course, I said it's 100 pages, but there's lots of code snippets for you, so you won't be lost. There's for about every 1 or 2 paragraphs, there's a lot of code. So there's a lot of code snippets. And then, of course, you can watch this video. Be sure to subscribe, like, and follow for more frequent content. And of course, as I said, that's why I didn't go through the screenshots here, because I just showed all that to you. And if you want to learn about Blender, I do have a course. It's available on nojamboshop.com. As you can see here, this learning Python course. And you see, this is what the course looks like. You can see you don't even need an ID. You can do everything right in the web IDE for you. Once you, as you can see, everything is there. And if you need any help, I'm always available for you. And also, there's also a book for Python. And the book is also on Amazon. I see it's called Learning Python. And this one is only an ebook for now. I haven't created, and that one has 78 pages. Again, it has lots of code snippets. So this book and the course, they are basically the same thing. I basically just took the course material and made a book out of it. So so you don't have to grab both. You can just grab one or the other. You'll be perfectly fine. All right, and then what else? And then if that's not enough, if you need personalized help, I'm available for one-on-one online tutorial sessions focused on Blender scripting, Python fundamentals, and automating creative workflows. So you can schedule. You can go to jamboservices.com. What's going on here? So and go to the contact page and just fill this in, and I'll get back to you. Now this site is going to change probably as early, probably by sometime very early next week. Definitely probably by the weekend. It's going to change, and this will look. The layouts is very, very different, but this form will still stay and this page will still pay, so you can fill in. And I do have a partner, so if I'm not available, he's actually probably even a little bit better than me in Python, so he'll be able to help you as well. Okay, and then that's it. So be sure to like, as I said, also subscribe, follow, leave comments for more frequent content. And as I said, I also left the script down here for you. So thank you. Be sure to subscribe. Thank you very much. And I'll see you in the next one. Have a nice day.